The last verified movements of Conor and Sheila began on April 30th, 1991. Where do you think you were 1991, April 30th? Obviously not in Ireland.
Probably in school. Yeah, the week was it?
Let's ask, what day of the week was April 30th, 1991? It was a Tuesday.
I was in school.
Tuesday. It was actually 34 years, 6 months, and 9 days ago. I don't know, that's what the phone said. I'm verifying that math. No, it's kind of depressing. Sometimes when you got to put your age in, and then you got to hit the thing and hit the drop down. Sucks scrolling forever all the way back to the 80s. Damn. Brings me back to like when I was playing video games, you create a character, and I was like too young, so I had to like fudge it a little bit. And I'm way too old, and I wish I could fudge it. Damn, time goes by fast, right? There are certain disappearances we think we understand. A hiker goes off a trail, a driver takes a wrong turn, a missing person hits, well, the wrong crowd. These are tragedies, but they're tragedies with footprints. There are clues, there are witnesses, there are strands that investigators can pull. But then there are the other cases. Cases like this one, where the footprints stop before they even begin, where two ordinary people living in an ordinary life simply evaporate. No struggle, no panic, no last known location. Not even a scrap of their car. Nothing. This is one of the most confounding mysteries in Ireland's modern history. A case that has outlived detectives, outlasted leads, and frustrated entire police divisions. A disappearance so total that even the river believed to have swallowed countless cars over the decades gave up nothing. Today, we're returning to 1991, to a quiet, picturesque town in County Cork, to a house on Chapel Hill where a married couple, Conor and Sheila Dwyer, lived a structured, faithful little life. And then, in a single day, they were gone. No trace, no car, no answers. Just a silence that still hangs over Fermoy more than 3 decades later. This is the story of two people who disappeared so cleanly that investigators still debate whether they ever left town under their own power at all, or something, or somewhere, or someone might have intervened. Welcome to the Yore Town Podcast. I'm Matt. That beautiful woman over there, the Dun Queen, who I think is having some allergies because can't stop sneezing but holding them in for some mic etiquette, is Meg.
Hello.
Oh, hey. What's up? Sorry for the longer intro. I was really feeling it. What's that song? I was feeling myself. Isn't that a song? I think it's a song.
I think it is, but I don't know.
I think Jelly Roll sings it. Anyways, we're going to get into the last known footsteps of Conor and Sheila Dwyer. We're heading in to Ireland. We can't afford to go there ourselves, so we're going to virtually take it. And since we're already an international podcast, I said, let's go to Ireland. Why not? Because I recently heard a couple of my buddies got to go to Ireland. And one of them maybe drank so much in Ireland that he has officially quit drinking because, well, a little too hard in the paint, as they say. You ever heard this case?
Nope.
It's one of our other, I think not back to back, but recently, remember we did the one with the hunter who disappeared, no trace, no nothing. So I said, you know what, let's get another unsolved crime that doesn't really make sense. And maybe it'll make sense. But either way, if you found us on the video feed, we're over on our new Beard Laws Network. If you're listening to us as always, head on over to the Beard Laws Network on YouTube. It's going to be the new home of all Beard Laws longer form podcast stuff with the Yore Town Podcast, Triple T Podcast, Day in My Fridge Podcast, and the new home of the Street Sign Storytime Friday Night Lore. I figured we'll do all that. We'll leave all the beard stuff to the Beard Laws studio. You think it's dumb or you think that's good, Meg?
Good.
Hope so. We'll see. But you want to jump into this? You sure? You good?
Yep.
Gotta let that sneeze out?
No, I already did.
All right. Without further ado, let's jump into this. And I feel like to kind of understand how unnatural this disappearance really is, we have to understand who the Dwyers really are. Conor was 62 years old, a solid, dependable man. He lived in Fermoy? Fermoy? F-E-R-M-O-Y? Well, he lived there his entire... Fermoy? Sure. I don't speak Irish or English, apparently, but it's where he lived his entire life. He worked, simple jobs. He was a taxi driver. for a long time. And for years, he served as a caretaker for the Castle Lyons house for a German businessman who owned the property. He wasn't wealthy. He wasn't reckless. He wasn't the type of man who, spent beyond his means or even entertained, secret side jobs that might lead to danger. Right? Just a normal Irish dude, right? People who knew him described him as a routine-driven, punctual, calm as the day is long kind of guy. I like that. Calm as the day is long. I'm going to try to remember that.
Interesting.
Yeah. This guy, he'd walk the same routes, shopped at the same shops, saw the same people. This was a man who liked predictable days. Right? We know some people like that. Not a bad thing. But when it comes to stuff like this, makes you really scratch your head, doesn't it? His wife, Sheila, she was 60s and was just as steady. She was deeply connected to her faith, often attended church regularly. Her sister, Maisie, would later tell reporters that Sheila was extremely close to her family, the kind of person who never forgot to call, never disappeared for days, never failed to check in. Just always calling. People aren't going to know where she is,
Mm-hmm.
This is the early 90s, no cell phones, no Facebook, none of that stuff, right? Really? Sheila was warm, soft-spoken, composed, and absolutely not the kind of woman who just vanished without telling someone where she was going. If they had a trip, they had this going on, her sister, her family, they'd all know about it, right? These two, they'd been married for decades. It was a quiet, traditional Irish marriage. Their neighbors described them as just gentle, private, harmless, the kind of couple you'd see at the post office, hand in hand, and think, that's what getting old together is supposed to look like. Yeah. When's the last time you've been to a post office? It's been a long time, right?
Yeah.
But that's the type of people they were. 60s, still going to the post office, hand in hand, probably through the shops. Love, right? Financially, there was no tension, no debt collectors, no remortgaging, no gambling. Their phones, they weren't tapped. Their marriage wasn't on the rocks. No family members could identify even the slightest little personal crisis. So in short, there was nothing in their lives that hinted at any trouble. And that's precisely what makes what happened so chilling. Because if there was even one crack in the normal routine, you could understand how something might slip through. But there weren't any. Not one, Meg. Doesn't make sense, does it?
Nope.
This is kind of the backdrop against which the impossible happened. You ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
The last verified movements of Conor and Sheila began on April 30th, 1991. Where do you think you were 1991, April 30th? Obviously not in Ireland.
Probably in school.
Hmm?
Yeah, the week was it?
That's a good question. Let's ask my phone. What day of the week was April 30th, 1991? It was a Tuesday.
I was in school.
Tuesday. All right. Thank you to the phone. It was actually 34 years, 6 months, and 9 days ago. I don't know, that's what the phone said. I'm not verifying that math. No, it's kind of depressing. No, sometimes when you got to put your age in, and then you got to hit the thing and hit the drop down. It sucks scrolling forever all the way back to the 80s. I'm like, God damn. It brings me back to like when I was playing video games, you create a character, and I was like too young, so I had to like fudge it a little bit. Now I'm way too old, and I wish I could fudge it. Damn, time goes by fast, right? So we know it's a Tuesday, right? Weather, it's mild. Spring air over the river Blackwater. The kind of quiet Irish day that nobody remembers until something forces them to remember, like this, right? It's just after midday when neighbors see the Dwyers walking towards St. Patrick's Church to unfortunately attend a funeral. They're dressed appropriately, they're calm, they're behaving exactly as they always did, exactly as a couple would heading to a funeral, right? There's no signs of distress. There's no argument. There's not even a hint that they are within 24 hours of vanishing. Later that day, Sheila phones her sister, calls normal. Sheila mentions nothing about plans. There's nothing, that's irritating her. There's no fear. There's no hints of a travel. There's just no concerns. This is important because it's the last confirmed communication that either of them have ever made. Then comes May 1st. This is the day that the investigation hinges on, the day the timeline narrows to a razor's edge. Sometime that morning or early afternoon, they leave their home on Chapel Hill and get into their white Toyota Cressida. That registration number 5797ZT. I'm curious what a Toyota Cressida looks like. Any ideas?
Probably boxy.
Let's just say it was a 1990. A newer one for the time. Very boxy.
It's
Yes.
almost exactly what I pictured in my head.
I kind of want one. Right?
I miss the boxy car.
Man, I really want one of these. Anybody's out there selling a 1990 Toyota Cressida for a decent price, hit me up. So they leave. Multiple neighbors later confirmed that they saw the car leaving the property. But here's where the details get a little eerie, Meg. No one notices where the car goes. No one sees it on main roads. No one recognizes it in town that day. No one spots it at shops. Nobody stops it at gas stations or petrol stations. Maybe they call it over there. Nobody sees it at the church. It's like the car left the driveway and drove straight into a fog and disappears. The next day, nobody hears from them. Days go on. Nobody hears from them. Their daily patterns, normally so predictable, they're broken. They're not at mass. Sheila, family, doesn't get a phone call. Nobody gets picked up by him in the taxi. Still, takes all the way to May 22nd, 21 days, 3 weeks, for family members to realize that something is very wrong and contact Garda. 3 weeks for these predictable people? That's not great. That's not going to help the investigation, is it?
Not at all.
So police finally enter the home, and what they find freezes the room. The house, untouched. The bed, it's made. The chairs, perfectly in place. Nothing's missing. There's no sign of packing, no sign of like a quick gotta get out of here. No notes, no financial reports that are disturbed. Their personal items, wallets, documents, Sheila's medicine, they're all still there. Why leave without your wallet? Did you know, though, that if anybody who does want to purchase a wallet, they can go to the link in the description, hit up Ridge Wallet, buy 2, and I'll get one for free because my wallet just broke and I'd greatly appreciate it. And they're running right now at the time of the recording a sale where you can get one for $49 instead of $115. That's cool, right? It was almost, Meg, as if they intended to just go, come back, maybe within an hour. But the car, it's gone. From the moment on, that missing Toyota becomes the black hole at the center of this mystery. Because let's be honest, if you find the car, you probably find the couple. But in this case, car vanishes just as completely as they do. What's your gut telling you over there, Dun Queen?
I really don't know.
It's crazy, right? Normal couple.
They didn't go to the store if they didn't take their wallet.
Yep. They weren't planning to leave. They didn't pack a bag, it appears. You know what I mean? They're not being forced out of the house. I don't know. Predictable people doing unpredictable things.
And their phone records didn't show any, like, more recent phone calls than that
the last one to the sister, and everything seemed fine. It doesn't make sense. Like, my brain said, maybe was there like some carbon monoxide leaking in the house? They got a little bit squirrely and just did something weird and drove off and passed away, or like.
Then they'd find the car.
You would think. But once Garda, Garda with a little squiggly thing, takes over the case, he's like the lead guy in here, the scope of the investigation turns pretty massive. They start with the town. They went door to door asking questions. They checked local businesses, the CCTV. Fun, that's fun to say, right? What little existed in 1991, they started to review something. Guess what they find?
What?
Nada. Zilch. So then investigators decide, hey, let's focus on the River Blackwater, which, Meg, is a deep, swift river that runs right through that Fermoy town. Sorry to anybody that lives there that could actually listen to this. I'm pronouncing it wrong. Right now, destroy me in the comments. It's cool. But this has been known to swallow vehicles whole. Divers, they jump in. Sonar scans, as good a technology as they had over in Ireland in the 90s, they were performed. Banks were checked. They were checked for drag marks, air tracks, debris, anything. And the river, usually pretty unforgiving, it didn't give up anything. There was no car, no broken glass, no oil slick, no skid marks. For context, The river, that river, has revealed countless objects over the years. I mean, if there's a car in that river, they're going to find it. There's a body in that river, they're going to find it. But they didn't find that Toyota, Meg. Next, hey, let's check the airport. Let's check the ferries. Ireland is, well, pretty hard to get off of in a car, am I right? So they got to check it, right? And in the 90s, car transport logs were required for any vehicle that had to leave Ireland for the UK or the continent. So investigators, they combed through the Cork port records. Cork port. I'm a child, apparently. My brain just said, what are we going to put in a crock pot? I took some letters, rearranged some letters. The Cork port records over in Dublin, they checked that out. They checked all the ferries, everything. Not like the Tooth Ferry, didn't bring them in. Ferries, transportation. Guess what? No matching Toyota. No forged paperwork. There wasn't a single thing that looked suspicious on anything. They checked credit card records. They checked bank withdrawals. There wasn't a single penny that was moved after May 1st in that 3-week window. Nothing. So then they were like, all right, let's go check the hospitals. Let's check hotels. Let's check the Coast Guard logs, immigration records. Let's check Ireland. Let's check the UK. Guess what they found?
Nothing.
Whole lot of nada. Gardaí expanded the search to the countryside that was surrounding the town that I can't say, Fermoy. Which, if you've ever been to rural Cork, you know is filled with hedged lanes, forest, old quarries, and remote farmland. Kind of sounds like home here, huh? Maybe that's why some of our ancient relatives decided to come here. They gave up the potatoes for a different style farming. Pigs.
Maybe.
Did you just moo?
I said maybe.
I thought you mooed. I was like, whoa, just because your shirt says moo doesn't mean... They looked. And they looked. And decades later, journalists and newer detectives, they're still looking. They still haven't found a darn thing. Over the years, alleged sightings start to trickle in. There was a couple resembling them that was in France. A woman reported as looking like Sheila in Germany. Rumors of them attending a shrine in Lourdes. I'm going to pretend like I know where that is.
Yeah.
One of these leads, they were investigated, and every single one of them ended up being false. Not one confirmed sighting anywhere in the world ever. So the case gets reviewed periodically, most recently in 2024 when Gardaí publicly appealed for information again. They openly admitted the case continues to cause distress to surviving family and remains one of the, well, strangest in Irish policing. Because here's the part that haunts detectives. Obviously no evidence of departure, no evidence of crime, no evidence of accident. Everything about this case is negative space. What isn't found, what isn't seen, what isn't left behind is the entire story. What's the gut saying now before we jump into a couple of theories?
I still don't know.
It's unbelievable. I mean, this could be the first case where you just don't even have your own theory. Most of the time you're like, it's multiple people. It's this. It's that. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. Because you would think the car would eventually be spotted somewhere.
You would think they don't just typically disappear, right?
Even if it's driving through like a totally new location.
Okay, well, we need to talk theories, right? It's the lifeline of any cold case, isn't it? This case, apparently, allegedly, throughout the years, has 4 major ones. You ready for them?
Ready.
A hidden accident. Perhaps they took a back road, crashed in a very heavily concealed area. There's a lot of dense forest, old quarries, maybe even a remote track. Ireland has terrain capable of hiding vehicles long term. Like most theories, especially this one, it kind of runs into a problem. Cars just don't stay hidden for 30 plus years, not in a country that is the size of Ireland. Not with renewed searches, drones, modern sonar, and forestry work. An accident could explain silence, but it can't really explain absolute erasure. Right? What are you feeling about that one?
Nah.
Not loving it?
No.
Yeah. Voluntary disappearance, theory number 2. This one's a little bit weak, but we got to talk about it, right? Could they have left intentionally? Could they have gone abroad? Could they have just been like, we're going to start over?
But without your wallet?
Right? I mean, they did find some stuff, not a penny moved. I mean, if you're going to leave, you're going to take some money, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to just leave it to the bank. You're not going to just leave it to the estate. You're not going to just, I mean, it's not like they're criminals. It's not like they just have to disappear. I mean, if they want to start over, they start over. But a guy that's 62 years old, that's lived in the same town his entire life, you're not going to just pack up and leave, right?
You would think not.
I don't think so. I don't know a 62-year-old person that's gone through a past midlife crisis, that was born in a town, lived in a town, predictable routines, and just says, hey, I'm out of here. I'm going to a different place. Then you got to try to buy a house, buy an identity, buy this, buy that, buy a new taxi. It ain't happening.
Maybe they just took retirement to a new level.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know. Like,
maybe. It's just weird because their lives, they gave no hint. There was no unhappiness. There was no secret money. There was no planning. They left their passports. They left clothing. But the weirdest thing for me, too, yes, wallets, her medicine. It was all left behind. No withdrawal of cash. And their house didn't show any signs of, like, prep. Like, hey, we're just going to disappear, right? I mean, then the experts, they take this disappearance kind of case theory, and they're like, nah, it couldn't have been this.
Huh.
Right? I don't like that one.
no.
Throwing it out the window. Let's go with the third one then. Third-party abduction or harm. This one's a little bit darker. Maybe it's a little more possible, right? I mean, the idea behind this was that someone approached them, someone potentially they knew, someone that they trusted, or maybe someone that just couldn't refuse. They left their home under the illusion of safety or under duress. Maybe then something happened, right? But who? I mean, they had no enemies, they had no debt, they had no involvement in anything risky, and even if someone harmed them, how do you get rid of a white, full-size, boxed Toyota Cressida without a trace? It's not that easy. I mean, unless, maybe, that someone was experienced. Maybe they had access to machinery. Maybe they had a reason to keep the disappearance quiet. Maybe. I mean, this theory kind of lacks evidence, but it's a possibility that's built entirely out of
And what did he do for work? Did it say?
taxi driver, you know? They built the entire case out of, emptiness
I was
surrounding.
going to say maybe they were going for a ride and they picked up a hitchhiker.
But I don't think he would bring her as a taxi driver. I've never seen it.
But what if they were just going for a drive as a couple? You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
And they saw somebody that needed a ride and picked him up and was a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
He was also, though, and this could maybe add to that, he was also the caretaker of that house for a German businessman who owned the property. Maybe, just maybe, something went down with the house and this German guy with money. I mean, if you're taking care of this big house, that person's got money. Maybe something went down. Maybe they suspected him of something was missing and he took the blame, and they found him out driving around, just the two of them, on a random day. Made him disappear. People with money. Maybe some ties to the Irish mob.
Maybe.
Make them swim with the fishes.
I mean, this seems like the best theory so far.
I mean, not a lot of evidence, but I don't know. That's the one I'm kind of leaning. I don't know. That's where my brain went. Something with the German businessman. But I have to imagine he's interviewed, he's questioned, right?
You'd think.
You would think. I'd have to imagine. Then the fourth theory. You ready for it? The one whispered quietly, even among investigators. You ready for this one?
Ready.
What if they stumbled into something? Something that maybe they weren't meant to see. Something that required them and their car to disappear immediately. Maybe it was accidental. Maybe it wasn't about them. Maybe it was something that just happened near their normal driving route. Maybe they saw a meeting happening. Maybe there was a weird transaction that they shouldn't have. Maybe there was something illegal that they just happened to see, something that couldn't risk witnesses. I mean, there's no theory or proof, I guess, with this theory, right? But unlike the voluntary disappearance idea, this one actually aligns with a complete lack of evidence. Because total erasure requires planning, timing, opportunity, and resources. Someone who knew how to silence not just people, but somebody that could make a vehicle disappear. What do you think of that one? It's possible.
Better than the rest.
It just sucks because that's all we have. We don't have the truth. We don't know anything. Nobody seems to really know anything. There's just four theories, and 50% of those theories make 0%
Mm.
sense, right?
Yeah.
I feel like this is what truly makes this odd case so haunting. For more than 3 decades, the disappearance of Conor and Sheila was hung over this town like a cloud that never fully moved. Like this cloud that's going to dump a foot of lake effect snow on our town in the next day or two. You know,
Mhm.
a quiet couple, ordinary people, no enemies, no troubles, no warning sign. They just drive away one day and vanish, almost as if Ireland just swallowed them whole. Their families, they wait for answers that hopefully come, but the odds are they're never going to get it, you know? Detectives, they revisit a file that just never grows even thicker. And the public occasionally whispers the same question. How can 2 people disappear and leave nothing behind? But, let's be honest, Meg, the truth, somebody, somewhere, knows something, right? Even the smallest detail, a memory, a sighting, piece of the vehicle, a rumor, it could really change everything and give that family some closure, you know? So, I mean, just like all the cool crime shows say, if you know anything, you suspect anything, they still encourage tips because mysteries like this, they don't stay solved. Unfortunately, they just stay silent until somebody out there speaks up. All right?
Mhm.
It's crazy.
It is odd.
You got anything else on this? Or
No.
get about our day? Maybe get her out, grab a slice of some pizza or a soup flight. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on the Yore Town Podcast. Feel free to share this one to a friend, somebody that celebrates St. Paddy's Day a little bit too hard because of their made-up Irish heritage. And again, if you know anything, let some people know. Let the police know, and hopefully tell somebody to Google Beard Laws Network and take 27 seconds out of your day and subscribe, right? Because again, said if we had how many followers was it and views that you put yourself on camera? Well, now we got to start all over. So the chances of that are even smaller. Sorry, everybody. But I'm Matt. That's Meg. Stay curious. Stay persistent. And remember, sometimes the quietest stories can echo the loudest. That's all we got. We'll be back next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.